for a Next News special report.
And now we're peeling back the layers of a story that's shaken the very core of our nation's security. Imagine this, our brave soldiers, ready for action, their lives on the line, only to find out their commander-in-chief has effectively rolled out the red carpet for the enemy. It's a scenario so reckless it's hard to believe, yet here we are facing a crisis of leadership where the stakes couldn't be higher. We're not just talking about a political blunder, this is about the safety of our servicemen and women, the guardians of our freedom. As we delve into this alarming situation, ask yourself, how did we get here? And more importantly, where is this taking us? You don't want to miss the final thought on this one. It's a stark reminder of why this isn't just news, it's a wake-up call for every American, so stay with us. And before we dive deeper, let's talk about something just as critical as our national security, your financial security. In these uncertain times where leadership falters and global tensions are high, protecting your assets is paramount, so think about it. Just as our nation's response should be solid and unforecasted, your investment strategy should also be strong and well guarded. Gold has soared past $2,000 an ounce with escalating conflicts and looming economic challenges. It's time to consider safeguarding your future. Patriot Gold Group offers a no-fee-for-life IRA on qualifying rollover, so call the number on the screen, 888-857-9437, for a free investor guide. Rated the top gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row. They're the patriots who are protecting patriots. Call that number, 888-857-9437 today. Now, in a staggering display of incompetence, President Biden's administration has once again come under fire for what can only be described as a catastrophic misstep in foreign policy. Sky News has recently reported that the Biden team is gearing up for military action potentially as soon as tonight. But in a move that defies logic, they've essentially broadcast their plans to Iran and terrorist allies. This isn't just poor strategy, it's a betrayal of the men and women who serve our nation. Now, this news comes after an attack that killed 3 service members in Jordan following a drone attack. Watch.
Well, tensions are rising between militants and the U.S. tonight after the White House says 3 American service members in Jordan were killed in a drone attack today. Dozens more service members were also injured. In a statement, President Joe Biden blamed the attack on Iranian-backed militant groups and says the U.S. will hold those responsible accountable. These deaths are the first U.S. fatalities related to the Israel-Hamas war. While on the campaign trail today, President Biden said the U.S. will respond to the attack.
I've asked you for a moment of silence for all 3 of those small soldiers. And we shall respond.
So imagine, if you will, a chess game where one player announces every move in advance. Well, that's precisely what the Biden administration is doing on a global stage. It's as if they've handed over our playbook to our adversaries, undermining any element of surprise and in turn jeopardizing the safety of our troops. This approach starkly contrasts with former President Trump's strategy, where unpredictability and discretion were key elements in dealing with international threats. Now let's turn to the recent reports from Politico and The Hill. They revealed that the Biden administration has been considering various retaliation options against Iran for the attack that killed 3 U.S. soldiers. Among these options, striking Iranian personnel in Syria or Iraq and targeting Iranian naval assets in the Persian Gulf. But what's astonishing here is the public disclosure of these potential plans. It's not just a strategic blunder, it's a glaring invitation to our enemies to prepare and evade. Now, you remember John Bolton, the notorious warmonger? Even he's weighed in, emphasizing the need for a strong response to Iranian aggression. Don't forget that Bolton has been wanting war with Iran since the 80s. Watch.
We want to bring in former National Security Advisor to President Trump, Ambassador John Bolton now. Thank you so much for being here this evening. And Ambassador, first of all, was this a red line? How significant, how dangerous of an escalation is this?
Well, I don't really think it's an escalation. I think the escalation began on October the 7th when Hamas attacked Israel. Look, these Iraqi Shia militia groups, Hamas, Hezbollah in Lebanon and Syria, the Houthis in Yemen are all armed, equipped, trained, and financed by Iran. And all that's not for the convenience of these groups, it's for the convenience of Iran. This particular target is very sensitive for Iran itself because right on the opposite side of the Syrian-Jordan border from Tower 22 is what's called the At-Tanf exclusion zone. Sits astride a land route that Iran used to use to send weapons to Hezbollah. This is an area that provides access for Iranian planes going into Syria to attack Iranian convoys. I don't think the Shia militia would have attacked Tower 22 without express authorization by Iran. If there were ever a moment, and frankly, the moment started about 3 months ago, but if there were ever a moment now when to show American determination and take a significant step to reestablish deterrence, the president's response has to be to strike targets in Iran.
Okay, I want to follow up on that. So, President Biden saying the U.S. will hold those responsible accountable. We heard Senator Lindsey Graham calling for retaliatory strikes in Iran right away. He said, hit Iran now, hit them hard. Do you agree with him? Is that the course of actions? There should be strikes on Iran.
Well, you have to hold responsible who is actually responsible. And as your report indicated, since October the 7th, there have already been 150 plus attacks on American military and civilian personnel in Iraq and Syria. And that doesn't even take into account the Houthi rebel attacks out of Yemen onto commercial traffic in the Red Sea and against American naval vessels there. Military personnel, our military officers have been saying for some time, the only reason we haven't had a mass casualty event like this in the past few months is luck. And obviously luck ran out. If you want to establish deterrence, you don't just hit the proxies that are carrying out the attack. You carry out retaliation against the command and control authorities in Iran and some of their facilities. And just state one more point here. You don't do this in a tit-for-tat response. You don't say, well, they did this and we're going to do that. To reestablish deterrence, or maybe establish it in the first place, we have to impose enough pain on Iran that it outweighs what they've done to us and is sufficient for them to say, we're never going to try it again.
Well, now, in the past, Trump's administration understood the importance of keeping our enemies guessing. They recognize that the element of surprise in military operations is invaluable. This is not about being hawkish, it's about being smart. Trump knew when to be tough and when to be unpredictable. His approach kept our adversaries on their toes, unsure of how and when the U.S. might respond. It's a lesson the current administration seems to have missed entirely. And the recent drone attack in Jordan, which tragically claimed the lives of 3 American soldiers, is a painful reminder of the stakes involved. Under Biden's watch, our military response has become predictably reactive rather than proactive. This kind of telegraphing and military strategy doesn't just weaken our position, it directly endangers the lives of those in uniform. Let's not forget Antony Blinken's ominous warning about the Middle East. His words paint a picture of a region teetering on the edge of chaos, a situation we haven't seen since the Yom Kippur War of '73. Watch.
Look, first, I think it's very important to note that this is an incredibly volatile time in the Middle East. I would argue that we've not seen a situation as dangerous as the one we're facing now across the region since at least 1973, and arguably even before that. And that is the environment in which we're operating. And of course, that was triggered by the horrific attacks of October 7th by Hamas against innocent men, women, and children. We've made very, very clear from day one that we're going to defend our people, we're going to defend our personnel, we're going to defend our interests. And that's exactly what we've done. We've taken action, and significant action, to deter groups, to degrade their capabilities in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen. At the same time, the president's been very clear that we want to prevent broader escalation. We want to prevent this conflict from spreading. So we are intent on doing both. That is, standing up for our people when they're attacked, while at the same time working every single day to prevent the conflict from growing and spreading. And that's exactly what we'll continue to do. It's fundamentally what's in the interest of the United States, what's in the interests of the region, and I think what's in the interest of the world. But the President said this, I think, virtually from day one. To anyone who would try to use the crisis in the Middle East, the conflict in the Middle East, to sow further instability, and to use it as an excuse to attack our personnel. We will respond. We will respond strongly. We will respond at a time and place of our choosing. And obviously, I'm not going to telegraph what we might do in this instance or get ahead of the president, but I can, again, tell you that, as the president said yesterday, we will respond. And that response could be multi-leveled, come in stages, and be sustained over time.
Now, Blinken's assessment highlights the gravity of the situation. The Middle East is a complex chessboard where every move has significant repercussions. Yet, here we are with a commander-in-chief whose approach could best be described as haphazard and ill-conceived. This is not just about one failed operation or a single blunder. It's about a pattern of poor judgment and a lack of strategic acumen that's become the hallmark of the Biden administration. It's a stark contrast to the Trump era, where decisions, whether you agree with them or not, were shrouded in a strategic ambiguity that served a purpose. Trump's foreign policy kept our enemies guessing and our strategies hidden until the moment of action. This approach not only protected our troops, but also strengthened our position on the global stage. Now, as we face a moment of critical importance in the Middle East, the Biden administration's approach seems more like playing checkers while our adversaries are playing chess. We're telegraphing our moves, losing the advantage of surprise, and most alarmingly, putting the lives of our soldiers at risk. It's a far cry from the decisive, strategically sound foreign policy we saw under Trump. Now, the following clip shows the stark contrast in the Biden administration's views on the Middle East and how much we've changed in just 4 months. Watch.
The war in Yemen is in its 19th month of truce. For now, the Iranian attacks against U.S. forces have stopped. Our presence in Iraq is stable. I emphasize for now because all of that can change. And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
I would argue that we've not seen a situation as dangerous as the one we're facing now across the region since at least 1973.
Wow. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. And now, my final thought. Tonight we've uncovered the disturbing reality of an administration that's lost its way, jeopardizing our nation's security and the safety of our brave soldiers. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Under Trump, we saw a foreign policy marked by unpredictability and strength, a policy that kept our enemies off balance and our troops safe. Now we're witnessing a complete reversal. Biden's approach, marked by transparency in the wrong places, has endangered our servicemen and women and emboldened our adversaries. This isn't just a political talking point, it's a matter of national security. As Americans, we deserve a leader who understands the art of strategy, who knows when to reveal and when to conceal. We need a leader who puts America first, not one who broadcasts our plans to the world. Remember, in these uncertain times, the safety and security of our nation and its heroes must be our top priority. We need to return to strength, to a time when America was respected and feared, not predictable and weak. We need Trump's foreign policy back, and we need it back fast. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.